Phipps. Daniel is a candidate for the Master in Library and Information Science degree. Daniel.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great privilege that I be invited to speak on behalf of the Information Studies students of 2013's UCLA graduating class. This is no small thing. The women and men before you have come from an exceptionally diverse selection of professional and academic backgrounds. They spent their time at UCLA focused on their individual passions and leave here for equally varied professional pursuits. Some of us are entering traditions that have existed before ancient Greece. Others are entering areas so new the job titles don't formally exist yet. The only thing that unites us was we were all drawn here, to UCLA, to the Information Studies program, to this year, and to this graduation ceremony. The past 2 years have been dense with information. We've learned about Olay's attempt to collect all the world's knowledge in his Mundanium and Vannevar Bush's post-war prediction of modern computing in his seminal As We May Think. We've learned how to write metadata documentation for metadata documentation. We've learned that the 5 laws of library science can be applied to almost every facet of life. And we've learned if and when an antelope is a document. But before we could learn any of this, we had to learn one foundational fact. To a crowd much like this one on our orientation day almost 2 years ago, Professor and Information Studies Department Chair Gregory Leazer stood before us and told us why we are here today. We are here to kill zombies. This fact may come as a surprise to the folks outside of our department. It may actually come as a surprise to some of us in our department. Very little of our education has even been tangentially related to zombies in any way. For me, it was confirmation that I had made the right choice in my education, and I've held on to it as a core part of my time here. Some of us have been learning how to work in the library system. Others have learned how to archive letters, films, and data sets. My fellow graduates have studied children's librarianship and user experience in equal measure. You can go through this program over 3 times and not learn the same thing twice. Our field is completely different from what it was 10 years ago, and it will be completely different again. And there's one core pillar, one philosophical through line that unites us all. We are here to kill zombies, and I would like a moment of your time to explore what that means. Comedian Patton Oswalt claims that there are 3 emergent personalities among those of us who survive adolescence: zombies, spaceships, and wastelands. People who become spaceships, inspired by Star Wars or Trek, assemble into crews and leave for new fields of inquiry. For those who become wastelands via the Wild West or Mad Max, stay behind to rehabilitate the wreckage of our past. The defining trait of zombies, however, is that they are too cool. Cool to the point of nihilism. While the zombies of Night of the Living Dead stagger and groan, the zombies that we're up against are defined by the eye roll and sneer. They don't have time for new ideas, and the thick skin of cynicism protects us from the highs and lows of ever getting excited. Our zombies collect into groups, and the second they see a non-zombie, they'll tear her down until she's one of them. Once you realize the signs, you'll see them everywhere. A zombie is never lonely, certainly not for long. Like the rest of us, they don't really understand how the world works, but their response is to pack together and simplify the world into 2 groups: fellow zombies and food. But somewhere, buried deep under layers of irony and atrophied from years of disuse, is a beating heart. There's an author or a poet, an engineer or a scientist in there somewhere. All it takes is a shock. To see the stars as distant suns, to learn what makes a human a hero, to hear that there's a death metal scene in Tibet and really get it, man. To kill zombies and leave humans in their wake. That is why we spent 2 years talking about the difference between data and information. Because it's one thing to know that obsession is unhealthy, and another to spend a night with Moby Dick and a glass of wine. Whether it's an archive, a library, or a data center, we're all leaving this ceremony to provide a space for the world's information and for the people who seek it out. It can be tempting to think of librarians as people who will take care of books. The graduates from the Moving Image Archive program will inevitably be associated with their films as informatics majors with their data sets. We leave today to enter a world where we will be judged by the size of our collections, by the patrons we attract, by website hits and download speeds. These things are all important, but if we aren't careful, we can be tricked into thinking that these things are what we are here to do. We may never hear it again, but we are here to take care of people, to keep their histories safe and to provide a place to find those histories again, to tap into a fast-moving culture through genealogies and romance novels in equal measure. Even if they're zombies. Especially if they're zombies. Whether we know it or not, I believe we are all drawn here for this reason. Not because we like books or because we wanted letters after our name, but because there's a generation growing up, as we speak, who are going to need information in ways we can't even predict. And we are going to be there. We're going to foster knowledge, fight ignorance where we find it, and most importantly, we are going to take care of our zombies. Thank you.